think a better question would be, do they ever give good information? If you have a question about your contract and how it works, the last person you want to ask is someone who's in a supervisory position, because it is not in their best interest to give you the correct answer.
The facts, dates, and events presented in this video are from the member's best recollection and may not be fully accurate. This video is intended for entertainment purposes only. Always consult with your local union about your rights and duties at your workplace. The opinions shared on this video are our own and do not necessarily represent my employer's positions, strategies, or opinions. All views shared are protected under the National Labor Relations Act.
What is going on, everybody? So today I have Greg Kerwood out of Local 25 in Boston and Norm, business agent out of Local 623 in Philadelphia. And we're going to be covering 9/5s and 8-hour requests. We covered this right when the contract got ratified, but I think it was important to revisit it, especially with how much of this is going on right now. So first, let's just get in the nitty gritty. The 8-hour request language, how does it work?
So basically, you have to give the company 3 days notice that you want to be relieved from overtime. The company has to give you a yes or no answer, approve or deny. They have to approve 10% of people in your center on any given day. In theory, the steward and the center manager are supposed to process those requests together. I don't know whether everybody does that or not. It's not always necessary, depending on how strict management wants to be. And then when you have your 8-hour request, there's been a bunch of language added as far as informing management if you're not going to make it. There's been some confusion over that. It's not that that language is required. It's that doing those things and following those steps makes your grievance that much stronger if you don't make it. So you want to notify management before you leave the building. If you're not going to make it, you want to notify them by 1. I would notify them every hour on the hour, frankly. The more notifications, the better. Get a copy of your messages. And then if you do, in fact, go over 8.5 hours, you would file a grievance for 2 hours of double time penalty pay, and you retain the right to use that request. You get 2 requests a month, 3 if you're in the central region. You retain that request to use in the future. So that's how it's supposed to work.
So as of right now, a lot of these 8-hour requests are not being honored. Having all these 8-hour requests, and as Greg just said, they have 10%, but most people don't file them. I mean, you've been doing this a long time. What's your thoughts about having these members that just are not utilizing them right now?
As Greg said, this is one of the biggest tools that we have to eliminate overtime and to get more drivers on the street. We all know that the company is hiring. And one thing that drivers do that I really believe is a detriment to themselves is the company says, okay, I'm going to grant you your 8-hour request, but what do you need me to take off your route so that you can make 8 hours? I tell everyone you should never answer that question. 1, because it's not your job to dispatch yourself. And 2, why are you telling the company exactly how much you can do in a certain amount of time? So if you don't make your 8-hour request, then whose fault is it? Is it the company's fault because you told them I can do exactly this much? Or is it your fault because you told them, once again, exactly how much you can do? I tell everyone the answer should always be, I need you to take off enough for me to make 8 hours.
You know, it's, as Norm said, it's important for people to utilize these. We have them for a reason. Take advantage of it. Certainly in the current climate of the company not hiring people and running everything so shorthanded, at the very least, even if you don't need to be relieved of overtime, chances are you're going to get the penalty pay and file the grievance anyway. So if nothing else, you can file one every week because you're going to keep not getting it and retain the right to use a new one and keep getting paid the penalty. But, there's the advantage to it is that, if every driver does these and takes advantage of them, then, it really puts the company on the hot seat as far as staffing goes. And hopefully at some point, someone will realize that they need to hire some more people, certainly to cover summer vacations.
All right. Now let's get into the 9/5s. Greg, how does the 9/5 language work?
Well, that's a complicated question at this point, but for everybody over 4 years of seniority, you simply have to notify your steward and the company that you want to get on the 9/5 list. Once you're on the 9/5 list, If you go over 9.5 3 or more times during the week, you have a right to file a grievance for triple time. After 5 paid grievances, you then have a right to ask for an elevated meeting where you can be awarded quadruple time going forward. Where it gets more complicated is if you're under that 4-year threshold. We've gone back to the qualifications that we had back in 2013, where you have to be on a route for an entire week, or you have to be scheduled to be on a route for an entire week and management pulls you off of it. And then if you're violated, you qualify. There's some debate over whether you have to qualify every single time to file the grievance or not. I can only say that, in my local, the way we've always done it and did it from 2013 to 2018 was, if you qualify, you're on the list, and then you're on the list. And then you can be file whether you're on the same route or not. That's not the way everybody does it. I'm not sure that's the IBT's position at this point, but that's the way we've always done it. If you have questions about that, you should discuss it with your steward or your business agent and see what goes on in your area. But that's how it works. You get on the list. And then we also have language now that if you're given excessive overtime on the 2 remaining days, you can also file. And as far as I understand it, excessive overtime is still anything over 9.5. So the key to that provision is that you have to be able to demonstrate that the company had options and chose not to use them. So if your whole building's blown out and you go over 9.5 on those 2 remaining days, you're probably not going to win that grievance. But if you've got, 2 or 3 drivers around you punching out in 8.5 hours who aren't on the 9.5 list, clearly the company had options to get you off the road and chose not to do it. And that's going to be a grievance you could likely win.
That when you file the grievance and when you're over that limit and you're requesting quadruple time, or you should be quadruple time, a lot of our guys think that, okay, this is my 5th grievance, I automatically get quadruple time. No, I tell them, outline it on the grievance and request that meeting, because once again, people only read far enough in the contract without reading all of the language, and then they're upset. Why didn't I get this? Why isn't this coming in this amount of time?
Yeah.
I just tell them, I say, hey, if the company's going to pay quadruple time because you put it on there, I'm never going to stop that. But you need to understand exactly what the language is so that you're not disappointed. Okay, this is another step in the process, and the UPS is already dragging their feet on every grievance around the country anyway.
And so I kind of want to touch on this real quick because I know there's a lot of people out there frustrated. They haven't had their elevated meeting yet. This is new language, and every local's kind of handling it differently. And so get with your business agent, ask them what's going on with it or how they're handling it. But to my knowledge, there hasn't been a single elevated meeting yet. I have seen in certain locals where the company will just pay it to prevent it from happening. But I think it's only a matter of time before it eventually does happen. And if you have had an elevated meeting, let us know. Because like I said, I don't want to see people get angry or upset at the union or at their local or anything, but I think it's important to know what's going on with this. And sometimes with new language, you need to be patient to see how it's going to shake up later down the road. If you have not done so already, follow 63 Lives Matter, Facebook, Instagram, all social medias. And I'm going to get it right today, Greg. Follow the UPS Teamsters 2023 Contract Enforcement Group. Shout outs, Norm. And it is...
I want to say happy Father's Day to all fathers out there. Enjoy your day.
I love it. It's actually, this comes out on Father's Day, so that works out. And that's all I got. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.